I need to start to respond to Diedrich a little bit from Norway. So basically what you showed there was that a lot of these new clinics, or whatever you would call them, belong to one group called PMG. January this year, I was speaking at the biggest convention that they were hosting. Like 500 people, and I spoke for 3 hours to them. To a blend of people, naprapaths, physios, and chiros. And of course, there was a different kind of venue to me to speak at. I was a little bit nervous about it, how I would come out with my message. But also there was a lot of people in that group that were longing for true chiropractic. It's just that they don't know what it is. So from their point of view, they are getting caught into this group because they think it's a fast way to become successful as a practitioner. Many years ago, when I took my ACP, actually we had the first ACP course in Europe ever, in Sweden. You know, so a lot of the people I've seen here I met as a teacher for ACP in Europe. I wrote about, my thesis was about red market and blue ocean. And that definitely is something that I see clearly. What I was warning about back then is that we already are in a red market. We just need to see it. And what has actually happened in the red market, the color red stands for blood. It's an old military term that Napoleon used to use because he created new boundaries in new countries. So it's all about boundaries. It's all about a square-like type of market. So in order to compete in that kind of market, you need to take a big share. And that's why these people do what they do. They build bigger groups because they will get a bigger market share. That's the whole purpose of it. So what can we do? We don't need to be in that market. We shouldn't be in that market. We should be in what's called the blue ocean. We create our own market. That's where words like salutogenesis belongs, like someone was talking about that David Fletcher was bringing up. That's where we can be creative, we can be ourselves, we can express ourselves. This is just like a comment. I need to actually start my talk now. I could get carried away with this. So, I had a student asking a few questions to me last night. And I remember when I was a student. And someone was saying, we're still students. I think Grant said that, and that's totally true. We're still learning, we're always students. But there was a time in my life when I chose to transfer from AECC in England to Life University in Atlanta. And that was when Sid was at his prime. And I personally got to know Sid Williams. I've been adjusted by Sid Williams. And I had the opportunity to also play football or soccer at Life University. But when I did the transfer from the school in England, that school didn't send my paperwork to Life. So it basically meant that I had to redo a whole year of stuff that I already had done. So at that point, I was a little bit like, is this really my calling? Is this what I want to do in life? Or should I go back to the Navy that I really like to be in? What should I do? So there was at one point where I was really, really low. I was really down. And I made a really strange things for being who I am. So anyone that's been to Marietta at Life University, there's a place that everyone knows about. It's called the Big Chicken. And next to the Big Chicken, there was a Chinese place where we used to go and have some food. And I told myself that I'm going to go there and I'm going to take a fortune cookie. And whatever it says on that fortune cookie, that's what I'm going to go for. That's how low I was. And at that fortune cookie, it said, struggle as hard as you can for whatever you believe in. since then, that's basically what I've been doing. And I will try to take you on this journey a little bit and hopefully give you some insights. It's not about me, it's about maybe I can share some insights for you. But I'm going to try to share it through my stories. So people have been talking about this. It starts with the why. And Andrew, the why started with my grandfather as well. So like, the why is, and I want you to stop and reflect on this, all of you in here. Why did you start what you started? What was it that made you go into chiropractic in the first place? You don't need to answer me or anyone else for that matter, but think about it yourself. Are you clear about why you started what you started? When you made a decision to basically have a big student loan and put all the effort you have into school, why did you start? So for some people it could be that they had an interest in the amazing ability of a body to heal. For some people it could be about a business opportunity, money. For some people, obviously for most people, is a willingness to help other people. So there are different reasons why you do what you do. To me, because I lived far away from my grandfather, he lived out on Gotland Island, which is a big island in the middle of the Baltic Sea. It's basically between Germany and Sweden, very close to Russia actually. So like, I grew up on the other side of Sweden, so back then, we're talking many years ago, it took a long time to go there for me. And so I used to stay all summers with my grandfather, and I used to watch him. And I used to watch him taking care of his community, helping people. He was a simple man, simple but not living an easy life. He was a farmer, he did what he could, he was rich in stories, he was rich in friends. And I loved to watch him work with his hands. And it's later in life that I realized, okay, that's where it comes from for myself. That's who I wanted to become. I just needed to find, I didn't really want to be a farmer, so I needed to find something else where I could use my hands and I could help people and I could have good friends and I could create a good life. So the man with the hammer on this picture, that's my grandfather. And sometimes when I think I have a rough day, a tough day, I see a lot of people, I'm a little bit tired, I start to kind of complain to myself, oh shit, I start to get a little bit older. And I look at that picture and I think to myself, what do I even complain about? What do I complain about? I mean, we got so much to be grateful. But let's be real. The first struggle in that quote, it starts with once you made that decision to go into school. You meet an academic world, a lot of information to digest. Yes? So for me, more than 30 years ago, coming from Sweden, ending up in Atlanta, I come from a small town on an island in Sweden. No internet, no cell phones, leaving my family. It was different. English not my first language. It was overwhelming in the beginning. I was basically translating everything first to Swedish so I could understand it. And then slowly and surely I started to learn more and more English. Today, like my son is 20, he knows better English than I do. It's different. So I understand we all go through stuff, but this is the first step on your commitment of becoming something that I would call a desired reality. Once you know your why, where do you want to go to? So once I started to know some of this information, Also, one of the reasons I transferred, the big reasons, was because I was seeking for philosophy. I never been to a chiropractor. I never even heard about anyone. The reason I started and I started investigating because I came through a book talking about this universal intelligence, innate intelligence, and the body has the ability to heal, things like that. And it triggered my mind so much that I knew that I have to discover what it is. So I first landed in England, and I was, after a little bit more than a year or 2 years, I still had no philosophy, and that's the reason why I started. So I ended up meeting with Sid Williams, and I got a lot of philosophy. I got even taught by, I met Fred Bartsch, Reggie Gold. I was really blessed. I came to that place at a certain time where I had the ability to be taught by some of the true legends. The ones that I stand on their shoulder. And I agree, Travis, it's now time for me to step up and try to get other people to stand on some of our shoulders. It's time, David. So it's about the core belief. So what I realized is that this resonates with what my grandfather tried to teach me when I was a kid. It's a simple concept. Grant Dennis talked about it. I think sometimes we make it too complicated. But the one important thing here, I could talk about philosophy forever, and I'm trying not to get into too much to that right now, because I want to come across some other things. But one thing I've been hearing all day, what is the objective of chiropractic? Like, ask yourself, what is the objective of chiropractic? Do you really own what it is? Can you with confidence say that you own it? Because most people I meet, they may say that they understand it, but it's not what comes out through their hands. It's not what comes out through their mouth. It's about subluxation, okay? This scary word sometimes in Europe, at some places, that you almost could get banned from speaking if you've been speaking the word subluxation. I really don't need to say so much more about that. So so by the way, this picture here is an old picture drawn by Murakami. So if you really, and I had that remade for an old IFCO conference many years ago. That picture by itself kind of explains the whole core of chiropractic, I would say. So in that quote or in that motto, this is what you believe in. And I suggest that you study the 33 principles. If you haven't got David's book 33 yet, and even the old one, get them. That's an easy way to get a little bit different way of taking it in. But study it, and my suggestion is that let it be like osmosis. Let it sink in. Don't force it. Let it sink in. Embrace yourself with it. When you walk in the nature, look at things. What principle can this be? How does this function? It's going to become you. And when you're aligned with that core belief, the knowledge you learned, that's when you start to this thing starts to happen. Motion starts to stir. You start to get like a willingness to do things. At least that's how I felt. So like it takes you to the actual practice, the art of chiropractic. I can promise that if you talk to some of the people here that's been, working for, 25 years, say, or 15 years or 10 years, they will testify on long hours on their feet. They will testify on bending over tables for hours. They will testify on the energy it takes to keep mentally sharp, empathetic, listening to a lot of filtering BS, and be able to deliver a message that is about chiropractic each time. That's part of the physical and mental grind. So it's simple, but it's not easy. But it's definitely worth it. You know, there's so many things that will come from this, but I think that everyone needs to go through this. Okay, so my first advice many times to a student that I've been, you know, as a peak student or that's been in my practice for like, then they're usually in my practice for 3 months nowadays. And what I usually say, get your hands on their bodies. Don't complicate it too much. Get your hands on the bodies. Doesn't mean that you need to adjust. You only adjust when necessary. But start to use yourself, you know. Try to figure out how will I want to express chiropractic. You need to get the hands on it. When you start to get like volume in a practice, it's tough because it can take energy. So I give you an insight on what I've learned, how to be careful with my energy, because at some point I had to. We've seen way more than 450. That's like actually, I think the AI picked that up from Life University, because they were there for 2 weeks before I started the peak program and counted how many people we saw each week. But anyways, when you start to see some volume of people, this is what I learned and this is what I do. I categorize energy-wise people in 3 different categories. One is a neutral type of person. The other one is maybe a negative, and the third one positive. So what is the neutral one? That's the person that you take care of that you forgot the name. That's the person that blend into the wall. Like you keep forgetting them. Oh, I've been taking care of this person for 20 years. They come into your space. It's like they take no energy. They don't really give any energy. They are there, and they can be some of your most loyal people. Many times those can be the ones that actually refer a lot of people, and you don't really even know it. And I'm always afraid that I will not see these people, you know. So we have a procedure where I have to see, but that's just the way it is. So with these people, I don't care how much time I spend when I adjust. Like, that's just a mindset for myself. How long does it take once you've done your exam, you know? Whatever you do, chiropractic exam, that's what I'm talking about, analysis, whatever technique you use. How long does that take? That can be different because of different techniques. And then when you choose to adjust, and you know what to do, it doesn't really take that long time. When you're present with a person, they don't understand the time you're there. I promise you. So anyway, these people could be 1 minute, they can be 4 minutes, they could be 5. I don't care. Then we have the negative ones. Because I have different semi-open spaces that I walk into different spaces, you can say. So I walk into the next space and I meet this person. And in the same time I step in, I feel like, oh. And I listen, I do what I do. I try to kind of like protect myself in a way, and it's kind of strange because I don't feel like I'm friendly, but they're still coming back for like 25 years. You know, I do what I do. And when I leave, if that's the person, when I leave, I feel like my shoulders are down here and I go to the next one. And here I meet the positive person. So I like, oh, easy. Yeah, let's talk chiropractic. And you walk out from that space and you're like, oh, I could do this forever. Easy. Those people I deliberately spend a little bit more time with. The negative ones, I try to be as fast and short with time as possible. So at the end of the day, not losing quality for any of them, but at the end of the day, I go home and I'm at the top, I'm positive. I go home and I can be with my family. All right? Because that's important to me. So if you're going to do this for a long time, start to think about this. Another thing is rituals. It's like you're at one space, even if I don't adjust, I always take a paper, I fold it, throw it away, and then I move. Because focus on the objective, do what you're supposed to do, walk away, leave it alone, next. That's how you need to be if you have a mission. It's not up to us to, like I hear a lot of people thinking, oh, I started to talk about this, and then they keep thinking, oh, maybe they have problems in their stomach because of this and that. And you bring that energy into the next person. Don't do that. This is also why it's so important to keep your mind on the objective of what we do. Other things, there's a lot of things when it comes to practice, I guess. Let's leave it like that for now. There's also financial weight. I know everyone says that it's an investment in yourself. It definitely is. But it also starts to worry me that a lot of students coming out from school with huge debts of loans, with the pressure on their shoulders that how will I be able to even recover for myself, to build the life I want to have. I took my son to Life University 2 years ago, right before he was going to do his military service. Now he's actually an employed soldier in Sweden. But he went to something called Life Leadership Weekend, a fantastic weekend, and I got, they took care of me and him in an amazing way. Because I wanted to expose my son to a certain type of chiropractic, put it that way. And we got home and we started to think about it, and he said, Dad, if I'm going to go this way, I need to go all in, and I'm not ready for that yet. And also, Dad, this is way too expensive. You can teach me all that stuff. I could go to cheaper school and then you teach me what I need to know. He's got a point, especially at the time, the difference between the value of the Swedish krona and the dollar. I mean, it was almost twice the price compared to when I went there. So this is a weight for us as a profession also. We need to look out for this because we need new generations of people wanting to become chiropractors and that can visualize, the type of life that I've had and have. Okay. So this is when the fun part starts. This is when it's that osmosis of your philosophy, everything is in your system. This is when you start to feel like there's not enough hours in a day. There's so much to do. I need to make a new organization in Sweden because the other one is shit. I know I have a 2-year-old son, but I do it anyway. This is those times. And you start to it's been hard for me to understand it's a work. It's a calling, but it's also work. But it's hard for me to get it's a work. But this is when you start to embrace it, when you love chiropractic, you become chiropractic. And what you become when you are that, you are change. You are change. People come into your office. Are they going to be the same way when they go out of the office or not? Are you going to be the same way with that interaction? This is when it's fun. This is when you can start to really start to think, okay, how do I want my practice to be? Start to play with things also. You own it. It's fantastic. Vi sätter bättre och bättre. Du börjar ju komma på sånt.
Ja, det känns.
Det tror du känner?
Ja.
Det är kul, fint.
Ja, verkligen.
Ifall ja, om vi vill se det så kan vi få se det.
Precis.
Bra. So that's, her name is Marina. I think this, I don't know, but this is probably 7 or 8 years old. I hope I looked a little bit younger on that video clip. But at the time, all right, at the time, she couldn't hold her head up. I mean, her diagnosis are so many letters I can't even pronounce it. She's got like everything you can have in the medical dictionary, you know. And when you face her, it's like tubes and stuff, and it's you know. She couldn't hold up her head; it was stuck to the shoulder. She had a difficulty breathing. She didn't come to me for pain. Her mother knew, and I take care of a few others in her similar situation. So she just wanted to function a little bit better. She wanted to have a better life. The medical profession told her that you have 5 years left to live. I met her probably 2-3 weeks ago, last time. She now holds her head straight. I wish I had like a post video, but I will at some point. Her lungs are doing better, and she was competing in kind of like a race, I don't know, but she's the smartest person I know. So like, and what do? You know? It's like, at one point, when I first started to work, I worked with a guy called Karsten Pedersen. He used to work with Gunsted himself. So I learned from him for a short time. And I remember as a student, I will tell you 2 funny stories. I will hurry up now, Travis, I promise. But one of the first things in a similar situation like this, 25 years ago, I just came back to Sweden as a, you know, fresh chiropractor. And I had, you know, a situation like this. And he told me, so what do you do when you have a gun to your head and a knife to your throat? And I was like cornered. What does it mean? And then I kind of calmed down a little bit and I go, I guess I find the subluxation. Right. That's what you do. Another time he called the newspapers, was me half a year in the practice, and he said, oh, you have to come here as a miracle has happened. And then he went into my room and he said, you better create a miracle now because I called the newspapers. Yeah, that's how we started, you could say. Okay. So, if you think I'm nervous today, I am. I am a little bit nervous. I'm nervous in a good way to stand up here. But then imagine 2011, the day of chiropractic, the first global chiropractic summit, when we went from FCO to IFCO. And I was speaking right after Reggie Gold. With a bunch of people, translators. And there you see, creating chiropractic utopia. That's what we call the first global summit. And I'm just so grateful. I have to say I'm grateful for Liam Schubel at the time and other people like that put this together. It definitely changed a lot in my life. And also, we talked about the word tribe, but maybe I should change that, I don't know. Anyways, this is when I met David Serio, who will speak right after me. And at that first global summit, we connected and we said, we promised each other in Peru that from now on we will meet somewhere in the world once a year. He lives in Buenos Aires, I live in Sweden. You know, I go back home to my wife and I try to tell him that I need to meet David like once a year. It was like, couldn't you pick someone that was a little bit closer to you? You know, and we also had a great time with Reggie at the time. So what I'm trying to say here, convey here, is that you have a great opportunity to network with people, talk to people, and I can't even express how grateful I am, how happy I am that Travis and all the people in the German organization, I don't know the name of it, anyways, whoever's been involved putting this up, finally, you know, we can create this again. We need it. I promise I will do everything I can to help out because it's so much needed. It's been giving so much to my life. I hope this will give a lot to your life. This is also how you build your practice. You know, you build communities, people know each other. Patrick was talking about what happens when there's a lot of people in the same space. Magic is a word I can almost think about. They start to help each other, there's a lot of things happen. Sometimes when I have a packed waiting room, a lot of people, it's almost like they already been adjusted by each other, especially when there's people coming to me on a regular basis for many, many years. It makes it so much easier. It's your strength and it's our strength. So, this is from my waiting room. When I was a student at Life, I decided that whenever I have my space, I'm going to call it adjustatorium. And yeah, so like, and I happen to love being an entrepreneur. And this is also very important. I know I don't have much time now, so I'll quick it up. My first advice is to think about what market you want to be in. Study red market, study blue ocean. Second is, I give you a formula. This is how I built not only this business, but other business. And with the help of my brother. But it's design plus align plus execution equals success. It works with any business. Design is everything, all right? Design is how do you want your practice to look like? The care starts, when does it start? Does it start when they see your website, Didrik? Or does it start when they come to your office? When they go into the door, who meets them, who greets them, what do they say? It's not just what happens in the adjustatorium, it's the whole experience. How do you design that? Is there enough parking place? Is it easy to call to you? Is it a clear plan on what you want? Is your communication clear? When do you have the health orientation, whatever you call it? I call the 33 principles. So you could play with this as a student. Start to design, start to dream about it. How do you want it to look like? I happen to love modern art. So I don't have any skeletons or anything on any wall. I only have modern art. I bought that blue painting when I couldn't afford it, but I bought it. Because it reminds me of blue ocean every day I go to work. Or whatever work, I go to my office. That's one advice. Alignment is like that puzzle you showed. I started to think about the alignment when I saw that. How do you get aligned? I used to be on a submarine. I want my CA, myself, and all the other people that are around me to feel like they have an important thing to do every day. And they take control of their own space in our space. That's the alignment. I could go on forever on this, you know? Yeah, I know. So it's fun. Business is fun. It may not be that you're a person that wants to lead. I had to learn that the hard way because in the beginning I thought everyone wanted to have their own office because I was thinking too much of myself. And then I realized there are people that they want to follow, they want to take part, they want to be in your team. So who are you? What do you want to do? But get involved in the business, because the business is energy also. It makes it possible for you to do bigger things for chiropractic. It's so good that I have a CA that is a little bit of a bitch. Because if it was me standing in that space, I would have no money. I would probably give away everything. I'm honest, because I don't even focus on money. I never focused on money. Sid Williams said, like, you need to create a willingness to help a lot of people. But then he added, I heard this, that doesn't mean that you should be business stupid. So because I don't like to be the one who asks for money, I have persons that love to ask for money. Because it's needed. That way I can help others also. Sid Williams also said to me once, like, there's nothing as strong or powerful as a made-up mind. So the daily reward, the moment it all connects. This could be about the small wins. You know, this could be about the family that is more healthy than they used to be. They sleep better. You hear different things. This could be about the baby that starts to laugh, whatever it is. It could also be where I'm at now, when Travis, myself, and David had the opportunity to see Tom and Betty Gilardi. We drove there to their place with Didi Amber next to me. It's crazy, like. Didi Amber used to be like second person to Sid Williams. And they told us stories that you wouldn't believe. But it also looked me straight in the eyes, Tom did. So what are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? Are you starting any school, or what are you doing? So when I went away from there, that grew on me. Yeah, I need to step up. And he told me, this guy that's going to come up soon, you have to expand your vision, Andreas. You're too lazy. Right, Grant. This is where I was thinking about the chiropractic utopia. Well, I was going to read the same thing as he was reading, but time is running out. So I hope you heard what he was reading about B.J. Palmer's Utopia of Chiropraktic, because I was actually planning on reading the same thing. But I think we skipped that now. I hope you heard it. It's very like thinking back of that poster from Lima, Peru. It's not, we have to come back, you know. We need to look at the history, learn from the history, and then see what can we do better now, you know? So, my brother, who I work with, is in business, by the way, and he's all over the place, I guess. But he always says that insight is worth its weight in gold, meaning nothing. Insight is worth nothing if it's not taken into action. He also says that the fastest and shortest way to success is to shorten the time between insight and action. So, this is myself, my son, and our little daughter. Not my son and my our little dog. She's become like she's a year old there. Vera is her name. Chiropractic has been giving me a fantastic life, fantastic friends, fantastic stories. I can't express how grateful I am. And I'm also happy to meet new people. And I mean, Damar is here that I love, and you know, I'm even the godfather of her oldest son. It's amazing. It touches me. So I hope you got some insight from this. And here is the fortune cookie for you. So of course I saved this. But thank you so much, and get prepared for a different kind of energy, but also the same kind of energy. All right. Well, thank you very much.